Hello, ARC family. Welcome to the ARC journey. Today we have Karey joining us, Karey Vough from the Kingwood Church of God. She is their youth and young adult ministry leader, pastor. And we are super excited to have her here because of some of the things that Will has had to say about her and her ministry, and particularly some things that she did with their ministry leaders. So I think that heading into Advent, Karey, we are so cotton picking busy,
Mm,
and there's so much going on that our plates are full, our inboxes are full, our memories are processing, everything is so full. And then when things get added to it, like comments that are shared, or something says something on the way out the door, or they call and they didn't like something, all of a sudden it just upsets everything, and it can be disastrous to our spirit. It can be disastrous to what we're trying to accomplish, and it never fails. Some of those things come right before you have to go and talk to the entire congregation. People are lovingly want to give you that little thing that God has given them, because God knows we have some incredible people that have this spiritual gift of criticism,
mm,
um, and just need to share. So Karey has what Will talked about is that Karey gave us Karey has some to share with us, some handles, some things that we can grab onto for how to process feedback,
mm.
how to give it, how to receive it, and what do we do with it once we got it. So I'm going to turn it over to you and ask you to fill us in, because this is I think your willingness to share this with us is an incredible opportunity that would be good for us to get in front of our churches. So take it away, Karey.
Thank you. And I just want to say that I am able to pour out because I had a professor and a group of fellow pastors pour into me. I was taking a leadership communication class, and that's actually where all of this started. And so I feel like when the people of God are pouring into each other, you have the ability to do things like this that maybe I wouldn't have been able to do before. So in in light of what God has done, I feel like one of the best things I can do now is share what I've learned and give it back out. And I always like to preface things as I am on a journey. I am getting
Sure.
better at receiving feedback. I am by no means the master at this point. But I think that sometimes we just need to be able to look internally. And like you were talking about, all the noise that we have this time of year or the things that distract us. And before we know it, there isn't an opportunity to start considering how can I take the things that come at me, the feedback, the comments, the negativity that can sometimes come my way. How can I take those things and how can I actually find something in them that's valuable?
Mm.
Because the reality is that there are moments we don't like what's being said and we don't like how it's being said. The package isn't the way we wanted it. And it's just so powerful when we have the ability to listen to what's being said, not just hear someone, but to listen to someone and then be able to filter it with such a thing to still love them at the end of that. Not necessarily like what they had to or how they did it, but to still love them at the end of it and to be able to say maybe there is something in what they've said. um, I just have to kind of figure that out. And it can be very hard. And that's why it's something that we have to do with the power of the Holy Spirit working in us. This
Oh,
is not
amen.
something that we can do on our own by any stretch of the imagination. And even with God's help, there
Yes.
are days where we're going to get it wrong. And so what I did at Kingwood is I opened the class up where I had individuals who were interested in learning more about receiving feedback And we walked through some different things. I had some text that I'd used in class that I was able to kind of create an outline for us and, give us kind of these starting places that we were able to manage some different things so that we were able to start looking at the fact that so often, and actually CEOs and corporations spend incredible amounts of money trying to develop leaders who can give feedback effectively, where what we're finding with research is that it's all in the listener. It's the one that is receiving the feedback. If they are not able to create the space to hear and receive what's being said, and if we're not finding ways to connect, that information is just going to go by the wayside and nothing ever gets done.
Yeah,
And this is
we throw out the present because we don't like the package.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's sometimes, and I know for me, sometimes I need someone to give me something like straight, because if it's packaged too flowery, I almost miss what's being said. So I know
Mhm.
for me, as much as I don't like it, I have several truth tellers in my life who will, um, because the Lord has granted me that ability to have those kind of people. I'm so thankful because they tell me and I hear it. And so in the class, we basically looked at some really key pieces. We looked at, what are the things that trigger us, and in truth and relationship and identity, like who we are and how we're connecting with others and how we perceive what's actually true. Like, is what someone is telling me actually true? Um, and we also realized there are different types of feedback. There's appreciation, there's coaching, there's evaluation. If I was expecting someone to give me feedback that was appreciative and instead I'm evaluated, it's an incredibly difficult thing because all of a sudden you're trying to, manage this information and you've been completely taken off track on what you want to do. Um, and that's what a lot of the class centers on is being able to start recognizing in and of ourselves what's actually happening in this. Am I feeling upset because I don't feel what they're saying is true? Because my relationship with that person is closing me off to hear the reality of what I may be doing or saying. And quite honestly, how does this affect my identity? And I think the identity piece is so key
Mm.
because those of us that are in Christ, that is our identity. And nothing anybody else says, we may feel a little shaken from time to time, but to just be able to rest in who we are as children of God. So just these are incredibly important things. And honestly, we walked through some different things with how to listen. How do we listen to people in pain? That is probably one of the more difficult things. We start talking about the discomfort, how we push the arrow back to other people. If I'm in a conversation, obviously right now I'm doing all the talking, but if you and I were having a conversation, in order to show you how much I care about you, that moment of like, I want to really listen to you. And as you're saying things, pushing that arrow back to you so that you're communicating with me. And then me staying engaged and focused and
Mhm.
continuing to give you that time and attention. Again, this time of year, we are so packed.
Yes.
One of my children tonight said something to me, and I was so, harried trying to get things going for supper and things like that, that all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, what did you just say? And you're kind of like, did I hear that correctly? Did I so even in the evenings, with having a family, I feel like there are moments where I have to return to these principles and these things because they're not just for pastors and shepherds. I think they're incredibly important if you're teaching, if you're preaching, if you're leading people in any capacity, but they filter down into our everyday lives. Our spouses, our children, our coworkers can all be blessed by the development of these skills in order so that we can look more like Christ in these spaces that are our everyday, places to inhabit. And then we have the ability to point them back to God. I look
Mhm.
like this because I am mimicking the one whom my heart loves.
Yes.
So just the importance of that.
Yeah, there's no doubt that, being the ability to receive feedback and process it lay it before God, seek for the kernel of truth, or what is the truth in this, is absolutely essential to be a disciple.
Mhm.
And it is a lid to so many people's leadership. It becomes a ceiling that they can't go beyond. If we cannot receive and process feedback, um, we all, it's easy to receive feedback that's positive, encouraging, what we want to hear. It's much more difficult to hear feedback that is that attacks maybe who we are, or maybe it becomes something that we're not ready to hear. And
Mm,
I think that becomes the limiter then to our leadership ability, because we have to focus on and hear those things to be able to move to the next step or the next level with Jesus. I think
absolutely.
this is incredible. So you are, I think this is incredibly generous that you are willing to be able to do this with us. And all they have to do is contact you, and they can reach you through the church.
Mhm.
If they
Yes,
call the Kingwood Church of God, they can get a hold of you, and you would be willing to help a church through this. I think this would be great for boards. This would be great for Sunday school teachers. I think this is essential for elders and
mm,
pastors. I think this would be great for Sunday school teachers and anyone who is stepping into leadership. And not just in the church, but I think this is essential in the workforce. If we are going to be effective leaders in the world for Christ, we need to be able to do this.
absolutely. Well, and I'm also on the speaker list. So if anybody has access to the speaker list, they could call my cell phone if or text me. If text is your preferred, that's a great way to do that too. But I'm really encouraged and excited for the opportunity to share all of this because I see the difference that it makes in me. And
Yeah.
my hope is that it'll be a difference maker for other people as well.
Well, and I will go with this testimony. Will has said it has made a difference in the lives of those who are leading in their congregation. So that's huge praise for, I
Yeah.
think.
He
Yeah.
is a blessing as a pastor, so I'm so grateful to have people like that in my corner.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, Will is an incredible person to have in your corner. Absolutely agree with that. Um, now he's gonna have this big swelled head. And I'll be getting a text after this views. So after this goes live. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much for taking the opportunity. I just want to say to all of you, reach out. This is an opportunity to tap into, and it will help you and your congregation, and have the conversation with her about what it looks like, how you can tailor it to fit your needs in your congregation, how you can make it into bite-sized bits, and whatever you need to do. And I will tell you, keep shining, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks.